Hi and welcome to this talking head video. So in this video, we're actually going to be doing the review on that mini PC that we bought from Amazon back in July. So that is the GMKtec M5 Plus gaming mini PC that we bought. The one that I bought is currently not available on Amazon right now, but I'll have the link to where some similar models are available because the model that I had a Ryzen 7 5825U and also 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM and a 1 terabyte SSD. Right now, the only version that I can find that is similar is 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM, but it is fairly similar. Now, I got it on sale on Prime Day deals. It ended up being just over $400 Canadian, which was a pretty good deal. I think before the sale price, I think it was like 550, I want to say Canadian. So it would have probably came about to $600 after taxes and everything. So it was a pretty good deal. Now, as far as the actual functioning of the PC came in this box here, which we did the unboxing. You can still find that video on my channel. The actual packaging itself was actually super, super nice. The box was a little scuffed, but I would imagine that was probably from shipping. But the actual insides, the way that it was packaged, even that scuff would not have impacted anything inside. It was actually very properly packed. There was a lot of like insulation around the actual computer itself. So that part was actually great. It came with all the cables that we needed. We set it up. It came with Windows 11. We kept the Windows 11 installed on there to set up our home lab. Now, as a home lab, I would give this PC for sure a 5 out of 5, especially for the price that we paid. We paid just over $400. I've been able to bring up all my virtual machines. I believe the most I've had running at once was 6 virtual machines. That includes a Kali Linux virtual machine, a Ubuntu server, a Windows server, a PF Sense, and then some Windows and just some end user like Windows 10 boxes running, and I didn't have any issues. The amount of RAM that we have, the 32 gigs, is more than enough to run a very, very solid home lab. And the fact that it has dual NICs as well is fantastic. And the processor itself was able to handle that workload without any real issues. I didn't face any problems during any of my home labs, making the filming of my home labs. All of that went very, very smoothly. So if you're planning to use this mini PC as a home lab instead of spending thousands of dollars, I would say this is fantastic. You should be able to set up Proxmox on this, or even if you wanted to use Windows 11 and have VirtualBox on here, all of those will work fine. And even if you wanted to have a Windows server with Hyper-V, this will be a fantastic solution for you. Now, when this PC is actually advertised, it is advertised as a gaming mini PC. So I did actually install Steam and the Epic Games installer, and we tried a few games. So the first game that we actually tried was Path of Exile, which isn't a super hard graphical intense game. I was able to actually perform quite well with this game. I The graphic settings that I had weren't at the highest, they weren't at the lowest. They were definitely, some of them were high, some of them were medium, some of them were low, so it was kind of all over the place. But I was able to play quite comfortably. There was a few moments where loading into the town, some of the drawing took a little bit of time. But again, for a $400 mini PC, it wasn't anything that I wouldn't really necessarily expect compared to paying like over $1,000 for a gaming laptop that has a much better graphics card. Now, if you're trying to play some of the newer games like Borderlands 4, Baldur's Gate 3, any games that would have definitely a lot more higher graphic intensive requirements, This computer will not be able to run those, but again, that kind of comes with the price. You definitely have to keep your expectations within the reason of how much you're actually spending as well. But if you're looking for something to play Fortnite, because that was the other game that we played, I was able to get reasonably good frames per second, usually between 30 to 40. So again, you would definitely want probably 60 or over. But again, $400, I had to keep my expectations within reason. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 for gaming. I don't think that it deserves that 5 out of 5 for gaming like it did for the Home Lab, especially being sold as a gaming mini PC. I would definitely more along the lines give it a 3 out of 5 for gaming, and you're about to see some gameplay that I have. So you will see some stuttering on the Fortnite clips. And again, like I said, in Path of Exile, there was a little bit of drawing issues. But again, all that I would expect with that price point. If you're someone that is just kind of wanting to experiment with PC gaming, you're not knowing what you really want to play, and your friends are kind of bugging you that they want you to play Fortnite, they want you to play Path of Exile, they want you to play RuneScape, Albion Online, World of Warcraft, this PC will be perfectly fine for those scenarios. Now, if you want a avid gamer and you want to play the newest games at some of the higher settings, this is definitely not going to be the PC for you. Now, I remember reading um, some of the sales materials for this computer, and it was advertising like great performance on Fortnite. Now, I'm not sure what settings they had it set at because they didn't really specify the settings that they had, but I was not able to achieve the frames per second that they were advertising. I got nowhere near 60. The highest I got to, I think, was 47 or 49, which again, you will see in the clips coming up. But overall, if you are looking for a home lab or just a home PC for your everyday email browser, it is wonderful. If you're also just wanting to begin or dabble into PC gaming, and maybe the gaming that you're doing is more indie or a lot of 2D style gaming, this will be perfect. But again, like I said, if you are looking for very intensive, new state of the art gaming with the graphic settings set at high or ultra, this is not going to be the PC that you would want. You're definitely going to want to invest in a more solid PC or even build your own with some of the newer graphics card, like the 5080 or even the 4000 series would probably be sufficient for a lot of the newer games. But let's take a look at the clips that we recorded earlier on. So here we can actually see the Path of Exile gameplay that I did some earlier. So you can actually see that it actually looks quite good. It's running quite well in terms of frames. There is a little bit of choppiness here and there, but nothing too bad. Definitely very playable, especially again considering that this machine is not super expensive. I thought that Path of Exile was actually quite playable on this. Now we actually jump into Fortnite here. Now here's where you're going to see a little bit more stuttering and definitely some load-in drawing times. So here it was actually just fine, but we're actually going to be approaching a drop pod here, and you're going to see some of that drawing time and also some of the stuttering. So there you can actually just see a little bit of stuttering there and there as well. And you can see that the frames are kind of all over the place in the mid 20s, in the mid 30s. We don't really ever go above 40 as far as I can really remember here. So I think there might have been a few times that we've gone over 40, but for the most part, it was like 38, 40 was really the highest. And then there was like definitely some choppiness here and there that we can definitely see in the video gameplay. It wasn't as bad playing it. I think a lot of this could also be the Elgato game capture card. Definitely makes it a little bit more visible than when you're in game.
But there was definitely
Now,
some
with
stuff
those
around
two
there.
clips, like I said, for the home lab, I would have gave it a 5 out of 5. For gaming, I would probably say a 3 out of 5. But honestly, overall, I would give this mini PC a 4.5 out of 5. I, of course, had a lot less expectations from the gaming side based on how much I spent on it. I don't agree that it should be advertised really as a gaming mini PC. Feel like that could be misleading for some people that just might not necessarily know what they're getting themselves into. But again, with that price point, I'm sure that you're not going to really think that you're going to be getting a top of the end gaming PC compared to where some of them are. The entry cost usually is about 1,000 to 1,200 Canadian dollars, whereas like a lot of the build your own and some of these higher end gaming PCs, you're going to be looking at 2 to 3,000 Canadian dollars. So with that in said, I would say the GMKtec M5 Plus gaming PC that I got off Amazon, I would give that a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoy it for my home lab. I might even get a second one eventually to have a secondary node, especially going to Proxmox, being able to share that load between the two. I think that it is a perfect PC for that, especially with the amount of size that it takes up on your desk is barely anything. So I would say if you're a home labber, definitely look into these mini PCs. You will not be let down. Coming from using a desktop Optiplex that takes up a lot of room and using a lot of different laptops, this is a wonderful solution that takes up a lot less room on my desk and is a lot more powerful than those computers. So I've really enjoyed it. I'll be posting a link to the Amazon page that I got the PC at. Like I said, right now at the time of filming, I don't see the 32 gig of RAM version, but they do have the 16 gig version for 385 Canadian dollars. They also have one with 32 gigs of DDR4, DDI5 RAM instead of DDR4. But that one is actually a whopping $1,100. The processor is a lot better on that one as well. But just keep in mind that your graphics card will still be highly hindered compared to getting a gaming PC for probably just a couple $100 more. I would probably get something full blown at that point. But if you're looking for something cheap, some of these mini PCs go for like 300 to $500, and especially on a Prime Day deals that you can get them on sale. Look for something with 32 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte drive, and you will not be let down for all your home labbing needs. And you'll be able to follow all the tutorials on this channel and other channels, especially if you want to set up your own web server, set up your own cybersecurity labs, practice help desk support, practice your Active Directory skills. These will get you there, and these will definitely help you level up your skills. Be sure to stay tuned for the next video. We're going to be hopping back into our cybersecurity labs in the next videos. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified when that next video comes out, and I will see you guys on the next video.